than a red light.
Speaking of highway, we're about to go way live right now
Live.
with live cereal.
Stop, not that.
All right, we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first ever Hellraiser Season 1 Jury Roundtable. Now, as much as you all love to hear my voice when I've been torturing you with these damn challenges for the last 10 rounds, I've decided to give myself a rest. We have a lovely moderator today. He has moderated Deception Season 2's Jury Roundtable as well, had done a phenomenal job both there and in the mini. Please give your attention, your respect, and your time to Coach Denson.
Woo!
Hello, everyone. Um, Thank you for having me, Benji. This has been. I'm glad you asked me to do this. I'm relatively more sober than last time I did this, so we're all good here. I'm just kind of starting with before we get to the finalists. Everyone's thoughts on the twist, game dynamics, all of that of this season. Did you feel like it helped hindered your game? Do you feel like it helped hindered the finalists? Just thoughts on everything that was kind of thrown at you this season. This is also an open forum, so you can just talk whenever.
My knees are injured.
I am going to say I think the format was a bit messy and awkward to deal with. It kind of created. I was not there for the end game, so I can't speak to that or like even anything beyond the first round of the jury. It felt like it kind of made things messy in a confusing way where you can't really like process anything and like it's very challenge heavy and the pre-merge was wonky as hell.
I
Um,
think so.
yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think some hindrance a bit for the finalists, not because it's these two, just because of anyone. The way the format kind of views itself based on a lot of challenges raises a lot of question on what their strategy was because A, at times it didn't matter, and B, what did they do to prepare themselves if all of a sudden it did matter, but it was not seen. So trying to figure out around the twist, or not even the twist, the format itself, how they're able to maneuver around it.
Lee, you were gonna say something?
Well, this format has been very interesting. It's not like your typical Big Brother Survivor type thing. This game was not like really reliant on making huge alliances. It was more so making like smaller groups. And as someone who got eliminated last night, it was stressful as hell. Um, I guess my biggest thing about it, I think this cast needed to be a little bit larger and we needed a swap because the pre-merge, I don't know how it was on y'all's teams, but it was dead.
We
Yeah.
had votes all the
So
time,
the
and
re-
it
Dead
was
as
the
so
far as
rest,
sucky.
strategy, or dead as far as just everything?
Everything. There
pretty
was
Everything.
much
nothing to talk
everything,
about.
because you're talking with like the same four, three, two people. Like there's only so much you can do at that
Well,
point.
yeah, and I that's really my biggest thing is just I feel like the size of the cast, which we can't control, like that's all about like who does and does not apply. But I do think
Hmm.
this is definitely supposed to be. I hope it's supposed to be like an 18 to 21 person cast where like the early rounds mean like it's kind of hard to vote two people in with five people to start. Like it's and like I think for me specifically, like me, Lee, Rafi, we had that alliance early on in the game. So once Molly left, we just didn't like we talked to Eric and then that was it. Like
Yeah, this format, phenomenal. Love it. We just needed more people. We definitely needed a swap. I think what woke the game up was the Red Skull twist.
mm-hmm.
Like that was the push everyone got to play harder.
I was gonna say, does anyone want to kind of go into that specific twist?
I'll just say it. I had it.
And what did it do?
Well, it let me pick any two people to go up for elimination, even if their team won.
Did you deliberately choose Timmy, not Jimmy, and Minor? Or did you mean to put Timmy and Minor?
No, that was not. I was not going to target Timmy because my
That
goal
was
was to
like,
get rid of. My goal that round was to get rid of a Gehenna member because a merge was approaching, and potentially 4 or 5 people from that team on merge was definitely concerning. But they did lose that round. But I just wanted to ensure one of them was leaving. Now,
Okay.
Minor, I picked Minor because he was he was eating up these competitions, and Jimmy for me was a little bit of a wild card. So I was interested to see how the whole cast would vote between those two.
yeah.
Honestly, nothing that you just said surprises me based off what I know about both those people. And kind of going into like the cast and everything, I do feel like in our community, you're always going to come across people that you know. You're going to come across maybe one or two people that you don't know. With the final two that we do have, do you feel like, and we will kind of exclude relationships for now, but do you feel
Now,
like the two of them were able to properly utilize those previous game relationships to get here? Or do you think that they came in, totally blind to most people and were still able to navigate the game?
I think in general, this cast is just like not. I wouldn't say super connected, but this
I
cast
would.
definitely. Okay, but then we're using the word because I didn't want to. This cast was super connected. I felt like
Mhm.
every angle I turned, it was either I played a game with that person, or I knew that person, or I hosted that person, or I know you said ignore it, but like I live with one of those people. So it's kind of it was very difficult. I don't think that V or Grace necessarily were like we know these people, like this is how we move forward with those people. Like I mean, Lee said it. V chose Grace because they built a bond from the start of the game. So I don't think necessarily that either of them used like their past relationships to help them move forward. I think that it's kind of like it's kind of like when you're like, oh, a movie's so bad it's good. It's kind of like when you know so many people, the game kind of comes like to a flat. Like if everyone knows everyone, then it's kind of an even playing field ish. Like that's kind of how I viewed it when I got eliminated. Like I don't know
That's
though.
a
That's
fair
just my
point. I agree with that.
I'd say, yeah, it was definitely messy. Prior rep did get heavily involved with everything here as well. Like, there was a lot of weird dynamics dramas about every little thing. And, but one thing I would have to ask, who was on the starting group with V and Grace? Like, were they
that
social
was
with,
Minor, Jimmy, Ed. So Minor's the only one who made jury.
how were they socially early on? I kind of want to be that part of the grade, and we can't really.
It was me and Grace, Jimmy and V, and then Edward by himself.
Okay.
So, were they talkative with you guys? Like, kind of thing? Were they like
Yeah,
the most
no.
talkative?
So everyone was talking, but the pairs were me, Grace, V, Jimmy, and then Edward by himself.
Got it.
And so, kind of going off of that, it's no longer the elephant in the room because you guys are already broached the subject. We do have two couples in this game, and when I saw the cast, obviously that stood out to me even as a spectator. Do you feel like that was something? And this is more towards, I guess, the two people that are on screen. Do you feel like that was a thing that lingered in y'all's heads throughout the game of, yeah, they say they're playing individually, but, or did you trust at face value, we're all competitors here, it doesn't really matter, who's with who, in real life?
I'm gonna be honest, it did linger in my head a little bit. I was barely at the jury at merge phase, but it kind of did. But like at the same time, it was one of those things where if you even hinted it, they were the couples were very good at creating the social dynamic of if you brought up the issue, you were the outsider. You were the and even not just among them, among anyone. It was a very like so it's very good on like the four, including Gracie in this situation, dynamics where you it was a semi-elephant, but if you acknowledge the elephant, that would be the drama. I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm not trying to.
Oh God, no, don't. This is a roundtable. It's open forum. Lee, do you have anything to add to that?
Oh my god, I tried to unmute for like 30 seconds.
Okay.
Personally, I didn't really care. Like there was couples in the game because I feel like if they want to play a game, they can join and play together. Like didn't really bother me. Seb was pretty much open. Like he wanted Grace to go, even though I wanted us three to work together, me, Grace, and Seb to work together at some point. Seb kind of wanted Grace gone, so I wasn't really worried about that. Same with Timmy and Minor. Like I wasn't worried about them as much until like towards the end half where I started getting my suspicions about those two working together. Not because they're a couple though.
Just because just these games play mind games on us. And
Mhm.
so on the opposite end of that, to the three of y'all that are off camera, do you guys feel like, or do you feel like you did this? What's the word? Utilized or took advantage of the fact that hey, this person is against us because they think that we're going to work together because we're married or because we're engaged. Did you guys try to plant false narratives about other people to make sure that the target stayed off of you? Did you use your relationship as a, hey, I can't believe people are actually going to target us because of this? Does that question make sense? If so, any of the three of you.
No, I don't. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, basically, do you feel like specifically the couples, do you feel like other players may have used that as a reason to go after, or even worse, whatever is relative, used it as a way of hey, look at these people. Isn't it weird how, the four of them are all still here? Like the four of you all made it to the end game portion of of it. Did you guys utilize it? Do you feel like other people are targeting you because of it? What was the game dynamic from y'all's point of view when it came to y'all as couples?
Oh, it was a narrative like early on and in the middle um of to target the couples. Like it was brought up. Um I think that's pretty much like I think for me it interfered with my game relationship with Timmy because I actively tried to avoid talking game with him um, until I think after Seb and Eric went.
Seb, Timmy, do y'all have anything to add?
Oh, Timmy, you want to go get pizza?
Okay, Seb, do you have anything? Oh, of course. Seb says, of course, multiple people admitted to use it as a scapegoat, but no, I didn't use it as a strategy. I was kind of annoyed it kept happening. Like I didn't like it was a part of anyone's strategy, and I was very open about my relationship with Grace in the game. I agree with Minor though, because talking game and it not feeling person is hard. I understand what he's saying there. And obviously the only reason I bring that up is because I feel like that would have been a big elephant in the room for people playing in the game. Um, and so that like kind of leads us to this final three that we had over the last couple of nights. And Lee, we'll kind of go with you. What was your end game goal? Like, what was your perfect situation? What were your plans going into these last two rounds? Um, and what do you did you see the writing on the wall once you weren't the person making the decision?
Well, well. So I had my jury power I stole from V, and I had a conversation with Seb at Final Five because that was the last chance to use it. And from my understanding, before Minor and Timmy entered the jury, like Seth pretty much told me like my chance was probably taking V to the end, which I kind of agreed with because at that point I felt like Grace Timmy Minor had a much stronger case to win than did. So my strategy was honestly a combination of Timmy Minor or Grace leaving, no matter the placement. Like that was my goal. But as soon as I entered jury and I saw like people were actually like supporting V a lot more, I think that was probably a bad read on my part. So yeah, I think I was gonna take V if I won that challenge, and I would have just see how it played out. I probably would have lost.
And so we have our final two of the
Hmm.
race. And just to kind of get going, we'll start with the anyone positives, just anything that makes you don't even have to be can't V, just things that stand out about V that in this game positively.
I do want to say, like, this game was like very hard to like come up with like strategy. But I think the one round was when it was Eric, Wesley, and Seb were nominated. There's a few people that wanted it to be a wheel. Um, like V knew Wes was doing Seb because of Timmy, and I think Eric. So so V's strategy, like to make sure that it was them four instead of a wheel for me, um, Grace, him, and Timmy to be on the wheel for the last spot. His strategy was at the last, I think the last 15 minutes was to throw a vote onto Lee. He asked me to do it, but it ended up him doing it. But it secured like a 2-2-3 something one vote without endangering the people he was working with. So Timmy, me, Grace. And I feel like that was like a round that was a very smart play because it could have easily been like a wheel spin and then like me and Grace could have gone up and he could have lost an ally.
Anyone else want to speak highly on whether you plan on voting for V or not, or wherever your opinions are right now? Just positives that V provided for the game, specifically your game, or just moments that kind of stand out to you.
From what I heard, he was playing the middle very well early on in the game. That's what I've heard. I don't know if Minor can attest to that or not, because I wasn't on Gehenna.
Yes, we played the middle. Like he played the middle with like me, Grace, and I think Jimmy was trying to get Edward on their side by throwing the
Hmm.
couple, like doing the couple stuff. But V was more of secure in the middle and was more and worked with me and Grace more. Like like V knew they were throwing like me and Grace under the bus, but V made it seem like he was with us, like that we could trust him.
Hmm.
So that like led into the merge, and then that got V and Grace got closer together. And he did it perfectly throughout. He was able to like maneuver, figure out like, oh, Eric is doing Seb, Wesley's doing Seb. Then we need to throw a vote onto Lee to make it sure there's like the 2-3-2-2-1. And then he continued staying in the middle. Um, I don't know if
Then
it's true or not, but he said he threw the point so I could be safe. I'm not sure if he was just saying that after the fact, but if not, that's still, I think, a strategy because kept someone that Gregson Lee wanted me gone. So focus them on me instead of them eyeing V.
And to kind of go off of that, I know this is like a people have very strong opinions on the middle game, specifically in this community. For y'all, when you look at, because both of y'all, I think everyone has said that V kind of played the middle. Where do you guys have strong opinions on people playing the middle, especially people that play the middle and get to the end?
Not really. I'm not opposed to people playing the middle. Like, I feel like the only line I have is, do you own it at the end, kind of thing. Like, do you own your game, and also did it come off as strategic? Like, because
And oh,
never
sorry.
mind, you can speak. I don't know what I was gonna say.
And like he wasn't really necessarily playing the middle towards the end game either. He was playing a more physical type of game because he won those last few challenges and secured his final two spots. So like granted, I don't think he was playing the middle towards the end.
Well, he still was because he was very good physically,
Yeah.
but he still talked about the vote and still be like with me, he still was trying to push Grace and you. Like he was
Oh,
still trying to like maneuver and still be in the middle. So like he wouldn't be like, well, I guess for the final six and final five, since only one or two people would have been safe off of the immunity. No, yes, I guess, yeah, depending on like the vote. So like even like if like you and me made it to the final three, like
right.
he was still perfectly in the middle where he was saying he wanted you gone.
Okay,
And
fair. You know what?
So,
Now that I think about it, yeah, because
so
all I know is at the final three call we had, like, because we had a call post elimination. As soon as Grace left, V pulled me to the side and was like, "So you know what we need to do, right?" Implying that Grace had to go. So you know what? I can attest to that. Okay, I see what you're saying.
I feel like when we talk about the middle, though, I feel like, and this isn't a jab at this person, but I feel like the the events of the final eight, final seven, and then the events of final six, it kind of led to, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, like the stuff that Lee's powers that he played and Lee choosing Minor instead of V, it kind of left. It felt like not necessarily. And this is a. I look at both Grace and V's game as a negative. It's not necessarily, in my opinion, that like the way I view it is not that they necessarily played the middle. Now V telling Lee like, yeah, you know what we need to do, and probably went to Grace and was like, oh, final to it, like day ones type shit. That I will give V, but it sounds like due to Lee's actions in the game, it felt more like, well, Timmy and Minor, that relationship with you and Lee was never going to be repaired. So I don't necessarily view it as anyone really playing the middle at Final Five or Final Four because you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, wanted Lee out, correct?
I did. Timmy wanted Grace.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, in that case, yeah, I'll give it. I could give V that, but still, it feels like due to the actions, it was a lot, and it's like falling into place. Like V was playing the middle, I can give them that, but it feels more so to me like V fell into that position, not so much like all the work that V did prior to that point helped them get here. It was more so they played the middle for a point, and then they fell kind of into a new middle like where like they kind of like tripped into it. I don't know. I'm just like speaking out loud because it
Well,
felt like
no,
Timmy.
oh, and I feel like I understand where you're coming from, and I would say that at least from my perspective, I feel like playing a good to great social game kind of requires you to play the middle.
Yeah,
It kind of requires you to, and it is like middle is relative, like whatever middle means. But I do feel like if people are looking at you as a middle player or a floater or anything like that, it's like, okay, from my perspective, as someone who loves doing it, uh, that kind of means, oh, e- everyone loves this person. Don't you guys find that weird that everyone loves this person? It's like, yes, because I'm lovable. But the negative side to it is, oh, they're clearly playing the middle, and we don't like that. And so I just kind of wanted to gauge how people kind of saw that middle ground
yeah,
game.
yeah. And I trust me, I love the middle. Um, but it's like it's just kind of hard to differentiate what really the middle is at
Yes.
Final Five, especially because, as mentioned, like Timmy wanted Grace out, but it didn't sound like
Yeah.
Lee, V, or Minor did. Kind of like how, Minor wanted Lee out, but Timmy Timmy necessarily didn't want Lee out first, same as Grace and V. So it seems like everyone at the final five kind of was playing the middle in one way or another. So that's kind of how I'm viewing it based on how everyone's talking. So, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just kind of like
Timmy
how
is
I'm feeling.
free.
Have issues with that just because, and I don't know if it's been mentioned because I was getting pizza. Like a lot of my perspective comes from the fact of what I want to do is based off lack of communication. So I don't even know if people were trying to play the middle or just so much playing one specific side and ostracizing another side, that it I can see how it looks like that from certain dynamics, but ultimately being physically there at Final Five felt more of a, well, you're on the bottom, whether it's a vote, whether it's a challenge, what have you.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and with this format, I forget. I don't know clearly how the format changed in Endgame, but my vibe is still that there's still a lot of people eligible for each round. So you kind of have to like, unless you have is you can't be at the middle at Endgame because there's so many people going that you can't just.
Well,
It's gonna be challenging off.
and I mentioned that in the jury. It's like it's kind of. I feel like the issue I'm having in general with this final two is I feel like they played so similar in similar areas. Like both V and Grace didn't necessarily touch the competitions until they had to. So like it's kind of hard to be like, well, V didn't touch the comps until a certain point because Grace did. It's kind of like Grace can't say I didn't touch the comps until I had to because V did. And with a format like this that really like heavily factors the comps at certain points and the votes at others, like, and I guess that leads us, and I guess it goes back to the first question that was asked during the Zoom, like, what would you change? Like, I just feel like Minor brought it up, I think, perfectly. Like, it's kind of hard to, or whoever brought it up, that it's so hard to really build a strategy on this format because there you can have a vote and then the rest of the game is just competitions. So it's more so, and I agree. I think what V did at that point, putting the vote on Lee to make sure that he didn't go to that wheel, that was smart. It's just like I said, it's just a matter of like it's also my perspective that like I didn't see V's social game at all. V only spoke to me when it was about the couple situation. So like V spoke to me during live night to throw Edward under the bus, and then V spoke to me after it was me and Wesley to bring up how he didn't like that it kept being brought up. Other than that, I didn't speak to V like at all. Like, and so with my frustration on that, like that, and again, that's just a personal bias. Like, I'm gonna be open to listen to V. It's just kind of hard to like with how frustrating it felt like it was, and I can't. I really am excited to hear Benji talk about this like tomorrow, like about how this whole stuff really impacted the game because for all I know, it just didn't. And like it was just something that like someone brought up and it was blown up to smithereens. But I don't know. That's just like when I view the middle, I'm just having a hard time picturing V doing that because I didn't see any of that social game. I didn't see any of that strategy game. Like I can agree that V was playing the middle. It sounds like on the early tribe, but based on what Grace was telling me in the game, she knew that she knew things that other people didn't know too. So, and again, that's why I'm trying to like piece everything together with Minor being here. So, like for example, Grace told me during the game that she knew that you were getting voted in by Edward if you guys actually went to that round. So that's why I'm trying to like piece everything together to be like, okay, well, Grace was working with Minor, but also playing the other side was same way as V was playing with Jimmy and Edward while also trying to work with Minor and Grace. So it's like It's like I don't know. I'm talking too much.
Well, no, yeah. So like we're gonna use that as a segue to
Okay.
negatives in V's game. And so I feel like you've kind of touched on from your perspective where that negative was of y'all didn't talk socially outside of the couples thing.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to kind of bring up negatives that you saw in V's game, just from your perspective?
Yeah, I would agree with. I admit my social game itself was garbage, but I'm not on trial here as they are. And I would say it was a lot harder to reach V than it was for me to reach Grace. Like Grace is one of the few people at the merch I had a call with even. So
But I also know Timmy has like the complete opposite reaction of that. Like Timmy did not speak to Grace at all. So
But like once it hit about final after after Wesley left, Grace did not message me. The only times I could talk to Grace was if I messaged first, and that happened every conversation we had. There was otherwise no communication. And anytime I tried to gear the conversation towards game stuff, she basically would not respond, which is the only reason why I wanted her out was just because of that lack of
yeah.
like that blatant lack of communication.
I would say a negative to V's game would be it sounds like V like over lied at certain points of the game, but also with a challenge. Well, that's what I'm saying. With a challenge format like this, I don't think it really fucking matters.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then
Like-
oh, go ahead.
No, I was all I was gonna say is like the final 3 round exactly like telling Lee what he wants to hear, telling Grace what she wants to hear. But at the end of the day, like it's a challenge format with someone taking someone to the end. So if it works, it works.
I'll give him his 10s for that. I wasn't. It's fine. I'm at this 3rd place.
So and I guess kind of well, Minor, did you want to say anything? Because I heard you say something.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I also had the same. So like after Wesley was voted out, um, V and Grace both like went from like full contact to no like zero contact. Um, but V tried where Grace did not.
And
And then I feel like that's how V was playing more towards like the middle.
Yeah, that's valid.
Like he could have still sided with Grace. I feel like they were gonna be endgame no matter what. But V at least tried to talk to me, where Grace decided, oh, I'm not good for her game anymore, and then stopped talking.
Yeah.
we'll put a pin on the Grace thing for now, but we're gonna get back to that. And so I guess before we move on to Grace, I do want to kind of see when it comes to V and making the decision of where he was going to go last night. Does anyone kind of plan on asking, in your perfect world, who were you going to pick? Like, or did you just tell both these people just in case? Like, does everyone kind of understand what I'm asking? Like, was there ever a chance for Lee, or was this all just a bunch of mess in the event of?
I
I would like an answer on that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
would like
I wouldn't be mad to hear it.
because it's
I would like to hear it.
understandable if he loses like not everyone's like he's been winning comps, but we all seen someone win comps and then lose the last comp.
Yeah.
So like I could see him trying to do that, trying to protect himself with Grace and with Lee. Because this was before the comp, right? Not after.
Oh, this was literally after the final 4. Like, we went on a Discord call. We were just chatting up, having a good time. Then Grace left the call. Then it was just V and I. And then that's when he said, you know what we need to do, right? That's when that happened.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So I like for me, yeah, that's fine because it was before. Like if it was after he won the comp and said that, then that's where it becomes
Yeah.
like
Well, we had breakout rooms too, and he made it sound like he was taking me, but at the end, like I'm not even mad about it. He made his choice.
I
And
mean,
I'm glad to hear that from you, Lee, specifically as that last person that is taken out. And I don't know if this was something you woke up to. Like, I don't know what your feelings were last night as it initially happened, but the fact.
Oh, they were the same. Like
Oh, there's okay.
I was coming into this. I like I had a feeling like if I didn't win, I was probably getting cut.
It happens to the best of us. No, okay, so moving on to Grace. Before that, does anyone have any last thoughts on V before we move on to Grace?
Yeah, my last thought on V is, and I'll say this during the grace portion, like I know obviously I come off a little biased, but I am generally very open to hearing V. As someone who sat at the end with V in a game before, I know the way that they can present themselves at a finale. Um, and I think V as a game, like the only thing I will bring up about like Final Three is like I want V to. I want to hear how V thinks about that because, like, from a certain perspective, as Timmy, when you were pushing Grace, were you open about it being because she wasn't talking to you?
I just said I wanted Grace out. That was
Okay,
basically
see,
it.
so like
I was just like, I want her gone. Thanks.
okay, and when I talked to Lee using the Jerry power, Timmy, and again, Lee kind of made it sound like, oh well, Timmy's pushing Grace because she's a threat. Like,
I mean, I did
Yeah.
kind of like did I say it like that? Yes, I physically said it like that to Lee specifically.
okay,
Um, but in my mind, it was mainly the social aspect.
yeah,
But I knew that wasn't going to be enough of a push for someone else because that is my feeling internally rather than
yeah.
what could affect the game holistically.
So I'm thinking like perspective wise, like if
Mhm.
I want to know why V took Grace because perspective wise, if the not eternal but external thought is that you were targeting Grace and you telling Lee because she's a threat, does V like does V truly believe that? I want V to stand on their game and be like, I
Yeah,
took
I do
Grace
want the answer to that as well.
Well,
because if the idea was that the picture all merged was that Grace was this big threat and then V took out Lee, who like obviously had some people in the jury not a fan of him. Like it's interesting. I want to like, and I don't want to
Yeah.
hear the whole oh well we were day ones because I get that, but also like this is a game and you want to win it. Like
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
say this. I am very much a. I'm not opposed to people who. I
Oh,
I always feel weird when people are like, I don't. I picked like bring against end, which that's great for you, but I'm not inclined to vote for someone whose goals themselves was not to win because my jury vote is what mechanically decides determines a winner.
yeah, and
So
I'm
I don't
sorry,
want
mine are
to.
you.
So I
Oh,
don't want to reward someone who doesn't want. So I don't want to give someone a thing they're not the most interested in.
and I understand the idea of like oh well if I don't win you do, but still like you should be wanting to win. Period. But I keep cutting off minor. Minor, what were you saying?
when Timmy got to jury, apparently maybe it was gonna be 2-1 for Timmy to
Okay.
go
Yeah, I want to
because
speak on that.
because and Timmy was gonna go because he was after Grace and then I was after Lee.
Yeah.
That's what I heard from V, by the way. So, like, I have not heard beyond what V's happened there. So,
Yeah, because it's
I can attest to that. That actually was the case. Grace and I were leaning Timmy at first, but then as y'all were talking, Grace and I kind of came to our senses a little bit and thought maybe we can beat Timmy in the like upcoming challenge rather than Minor because Minor's really good at some of these challenges. So we kind of
And
made
and
our
I
mind based off that.
and I will say as well, like when Lee was talking to me during with the jury power, I was like, I understand if you feel like Grace and Timmy are bigger threats, but it's clear that Minor has the better chance of winning these comps where V does. Like, so I mean, I personally would have voted Timmy out there, but I understand why people voted Minor there.
hmm Like, I think a big reason why I was targeting Grace as well is because before Seb actually was eliminated, Seb was kind of like warning me like Grace is very social. She's really good socially and such like that. And then I had Timmy over here saying Grace is this big threat. So like I felt like that kind of fueled me up to want to take out Grace even more. rather than getting rid of V at that point.
See, what I
But
want to ask Grace specifically is, or no, I guess we're not there yet.
Get
I was
rid
going
of
to say, but Timmy, don't worry, because I'm gonna
Segue.
use that as a segue to let's talk about Grace. Um, Positive, same thing. Just positives that, from y'all's perspective, positives or moments y'all remember about Grace from the game. Just thoughts on how she got to the end. Timmy, we can start with you because you were already in the middle of the thought.
Not if we're going to start with positives.
Okay,
Oh,
we.
if I can start with a
Go for it.
positive. I can start with
Yeah.
a
Oh,
positive.
yeah.
Though.
Yeah. You can still start with a
I
positive.
sure can. She always kept things very lighthearted and like made sure that you're still a person, and I always respect that.
she has a way of reeling people in and like misting people a little bit. Like she's very sweet, she's very nice. So like you're
Grace
more
has a
willing to work with her.
Grace has a way
Yeah,
of downplaying herself, even when I'm
Yes.
sitting here telling everyone I think she's the biggest threat in the game. When I talk to her, like game wise, I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe she's just not in that position, or maybe I'm just being delusional, and like maybe that's just me because I love her, but um, but like I don't know, like I felt like every time I was like, okay, I'm gonna make the push, I'm gonna make the push, then either A, something else happened, or B, she got in my ear and I was like, yeah, like she's gonna be a problem, but not a problem today. Tomorrow problem.
She misted people a little bit.
Yeah, I would say when working with her early on, she did have a way of making it feel like you were her number one.
Hmm. I'll give her
Mhm.
that. She did. I felt that way with her as well, but I was kind of on to her a little bit, just a little.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I
I will
think and
also
I
say that this is not really a great praise, but like I was when I managed to talk to her about the whole, there was some miscommunication about like certain things that V said at the call for my reaction that were basically not true. We managed, or rather, like like Timmy being leak and all that. We managed to actually like she managed to actually listen and communicate and figure things out, kind of thing.
Anyone else?
I didn't get to say this about V, but it applies to both V and Grace. But I think I'm biased, so I don't really want to speak on this thing. Like I feel like both V and Grace were able to open up their hearts a little, and like when you talk to them, it felt like okay, like I said, when I talked to V about the whole couples thing, V was like, I don't like that this is happening. Like I felt like I could go to V and be like, here's my game, no matter if it's coming off as a game way or a personal way, like here's how I'm feeling. And I felt it was very secure, kind of in the same way, but I can't speak on it in the same level because I feel like if I told Grace something and said don't repeat it, but also she played the game, so I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, and so then that takes us to the downside of Grace. So just moments where you felt a type of way, as the kids say, about Grace, just things that kind of turned you off. We've already heard, it seems like some people felt turned off by the fact that when she knew she wasn't, or when y'all felt she didn't want to work with you, she stopped talking to
Mhm.
you. Anyone want to kind of go into more detail about that or other negatives with Grace's game? And Timmy, we'll start with you this time as well.
Yeah, I think because what I was going to touch on earlier, and then I'll get to the communication aspect. I really just need an answer from her on during the Seb vote. I did tell her about Seb mentioning at times wanting her out and stuff. And then she did nothing with that, and I was confused.
Yeah, so I want to talk to her about that too. Like I feel like, and I think this is the way I'm telling myself in my brain. I feel like that the vote against Wesley, like she went in a more personal direction because I do think on a game level she should have
Mhm.
wanted me out. I think
Mhm.
Wesley would have been better for Grace's game. Um,
And if she can explain that, I could respect that because we're people, and
yeah,
so like I understand it because like been there, it happens.
Oh right, yeah. I
That's the one
remember
thing
the
that's
thing
goodness.
she clarified. We like clarified with her. She basically heard that I was forced to save her in that eviction thing, which felt inaccurate to what
But was
actually
that
happened.
was that not the case though? Because I heard that
That was
like,
not the case.
Not
oh
forced,
wow,
not
Literally,
forced, because
no,
I
Because
know
literally,
Wesley
I
had
like
just remember.
choices, and Wesley said, "I want Grace to stay."
Okay,
I mean, I think there was some discussion of either Seb or Grace. That's what I threw out immediately, and I was leaning
yeah.
towards Grace anyways. And then when Grace joined
oh,
the call, I made
so
my
y'all
hard
Mhm.
decision.
suck. Got it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm joking.
Yeah,
But
Oh, here
so
comes
when I
Seb.
heard that spread, when Grace mentioned she heard that, like I very much talked to her and tried to clarify that. In fact, I think I even messaged like either Lee or someone like that to clarify that seems wildly wrong to what happened. And
Lee
so like,
Yeah,
Tyler.
and she was willing to listen, and I think she did agree that that definitely was the like I definitely wasn't lying and telling the truth and that they're miscommune. And I think I even did might have flagged Timmy there a little bit because there were certain things that
I
made some more.
I do want to hear like what her end game plan would have been if I made it past that elimination. Like I want to know like did she have, and I want to ask this because I truly like want to see this reaction. I want to know if she had the guts, not the guts per se, but I want to know if she would have done it. Like if she would have taken me out cuz like I said, I felt like she was very quick to be like I'm saving you, Seb, when I felt like that wasn't the best choice. And even throughout the round where I was like, I'm getting paranoid, Grace is gonna flip on me. She was like hands down. And again, that could have been a V thing because V was also very strong on wanting to keep me that round. But I just want to hear like what's the plan if I stick? Like, does she go after me? Does she like get me far and then let someone else do it? Like because like I said, even with the safety chain, like I know she pissed off Edward a lot by saving me. Um, so it's very it. I just want to hear like how the personal really affected the way she moved forward.
yeah, because Grace was supposed to save Edward because we were in the three.
Yeah,
Um,
and even when she told me that, I was like, "So then, why did you save me?" And she's like, "Oh well, because I felt like you would have trusted me, like in the first few rounds." And I'm like, "Oh sure." Like, what am I supposed to say? No, like
Fair.
Lee, anything?
Still
Sorry, I
proud
kind
of
of
myself
spaced
for
out.
refusing to leave that call to force myself to be picked.
All I know is Wesley did not threaten anyone to pick Seb or Grace that round, but like
Or like
I was,
I wasn't forced to. We
yeah, you
literally
weren't
agreed on
forced to.
we
You
agreed
weren't
on an
forced to.
order, which basically we
Hmm.
agreed on an order because time was running out and I was refusing to leave the room.
I mean, I knew that was the case, but like I knew the tension was there. I wasn't gonna settle it. I wanted the girls to fight it out. Like,
But like I just made an order. I put myself last to like make myself seem more.
yeah, like that
yeah,
was true, but like I wasn't gonna be the one to settle it down because
yeah,
I wanted the tension.
because I did say the order, and I was like, oh, after Rafi, Wesley, and then Wesley maybe Grace. But like before that, Wesley said that he was thinking Grace.
Yes, that was true.
Mhm.
So before I get to as we start to wrap this up, anyone have any final thoughts on Grace?
Oh,
Positive, negative.
yeah, I just like I talked, yeah, like where like me, where I say like my communication went from like 100 to 0. Like me and
Yes.
Grace were sharing all our like guesses, and she was giving me like other people's guesses as well.
Oh,
Um,
mm-hmm.
and then like after Lee told her what I said, which wasn't even really anything bad. I just said like, "Oh, Lee's gonna be a problem endgame." That's what she told me. So I just wanted to bring it up to Lee. Um, and like from then, she did not talk to me at all. Like she didn't even, unlike V, she didn't even like be like Seb, like me and Seb, like
Yeah,
my whole plan was after the Wesley was voted out, my whole plan was to like not talk to anyone and just make it comp based. Seb, me and him talked all weekend.
Oh, I was forcing convo at a minor.
And it helped.
But that was
Yeah,
a
I
lot
wanted
to
to
be
give
said,
Minor
though.
space after that little confrontation he had with me. I wanted to give him
Well, I was like,
space.
at that point, I didn't know. Like, I was like, both Lee and Rafi were like, "We're gonna work with Eric now," and I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with y'all?" Like, no
What do you,
offense.
what do you
Um,
mean? You wanted to work with Eric too? I'm
uh,
lost.
no, you two wanted to work with Eric, and I said sure because what else was I supposed to do? I just barely survived a vote. Like, and I was trying to make good with Minor, and then again I got eliminated, so it didn't even matter. That's what I'm saying. Like it's hard to gear the strategy when like you could be so great, and then boom, comp.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would
But
love to hear more of Grace's strategy.
yeah,
Me
so like
too.
with that, like me and like Seb came to me like saying, "Oh, like I heard this. I want to hear like your side." Like Grace didn't even give me like we were final two. Like she didn't even give me that like after like all we've been through. She didn't like in the game. Um she didn't
Shouldn't give you. I hate to use the word in regards to this, but she didn't give you the grace to be able to.
I guess
I
yeah.
think it's the best word in this situation, unfortunately.
Yeah, so like she automatically just took it the other person's word like as 100% instead of trying to figure out like okay is some of this like some of it could be true, some of it could not, like it could be fluffed, but she didn't even try to figure out what was what wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, when she heard the "I was fourth" thing, that she didn't like. I really had to jam down to that wasn't accurate for her to even start saying, yeah, there was probably miscommunication or something. Like, it
And
was
that's
like,
and I want to clarify. Yeah, I want to get clarification on that too because Wesley, it sounds like when all that stuff went down, like Grace had a conversation with him and like was like, "Hey, is this what you said? Because this is what I'm hearing." And Wesley was like, "No, that isn't what I said." And they kind
it
of were
was
able to talk it
after
out.
it was after I physically saw she voted for me.
Yeah, and so it's like they had that but at least you had that conversation. Grace and Minor were in the game for like 2 or 3 rounds after that, and they just didn't kind of talk. And it was like that's shocking to me because I like we all know not to be that person, but Grace is a social person. Grace talks to
Yes.
people, so to kind of hear like again, like I've been in the jury, like despite being here, I don't know her game quite as well as some of y'all who had been here with her. Like it is very shocking to kind of hear like, oh, she just didn't talk to you at all, Minor, because up until that vote and up until Lee had told her what you said, I thought y'all were like ride or dies. So it's crazy
I
to hear
thought
that.
so too. I thought so too,
I
which
think
was
what's
so
most
surprising to me. Like Minor said that about Grace. I was shook.
I think what's most interesting to me, this isn't specific towards Grace, but like after Wesley being voted out, the person who seemed like the least visibly upset and most willing to talk, oddly enough, was Seb.
Oh, I was so ready to talk. Like I wanted to talk to you too because I was like, okay, like if this was a last minute thing, then so be it. If this was a like a
But
long term thing, then so be it. But I didn't want to close any doors because what is the point in that? Like,
And I respected the hell out of that.
what yeah, Timmy was doing it all day. I did it. I think the hour, the last hour before the last hour, because we were in the hour
yeah,
for the escape
and
room.
that's why I was being open with both of you. I was like, well, I was told that you were both pushing it. Like, I don't want to be like, you guys were definitely pushing it, but and that's like I said, that's why I find it weird because I thought that like I don't know. I think the two things again, like I mentioned before, I'm so sorry, Denson. I'm a talker, you know that. Um, the one thing I want to hear, how would the end game look for her if I was still in the game, and like how like was she willing to take that shot? And then I also want to hear like I want her to define her game. If she feels like she played the middle I want her to tell me that. And if that's the case, then we can ream her for that because I don't think Grace really played the middle towards the end game like as well as she probably thinks she did. Because like she said, she didn't talk to Timmy, she didn't talk to Minor. She really, it sounds like she only talked to Lee and V.
Hmm.
Like Rafi's
Her
not
and
here.
I
I
were
don't even know.
chatting up a storm.
I don't know. Rafi's not here, but I don't know how much talk Grace and Rafi had after that vote or after me and me and Eric were eliminated. So
I
it's
have
very
questions
interesting.
on that. Seb, I
Okay.
think this is the most holistic I've ever seen you like talk about like games as a whole in a roundtable before. I'm kind of obsessed and living.
Well,
And
because like it's like and like it's kind of interesting to piece everything together. Like when I was first voted out, I was like, I don't give a fuck. No offense, Benji and Z. Like I was just kind of over it. Like I needed
yeah,
that breather. But like, and I'm not like I y'all like I've been trying to say this whole game. Like I'm not here to just be like, let's put my pom poms on and cheer for Grace the whole time. Like
No, and
if
it does
they're
not sound at all that you're doing that.
It
like when
doesn't.
she's gonna watch this and I don't know, make me sleep on the couch or something.
Please
But
don't do it. No.
we're
but
going to
like I'm
assume
like
that
it's
people are
just
going to be watching this.
and
I
I
just
think that's
skip through
and
it.
like this is the last thing I'll say. This is I think it's a testament, despite like the things we talked about in the beginning of the roundtable about like what we can and cannot fix about the format. Again, it's not up to us. I think with the way the format works though, it makes you think about every little like thing. Like, okay, like was their strategy the comps? Was their strategy the social? Did they bank on the comps the whole time? Did they bank on like did I think the big thing we talked about with V, how do you prepare yourself if there's a vote coming up? Because you can always be great at the comps, but if you're not prepared for a vote, then what is the point? Because the vote could come at any time. So, anyways, Denson, good seeing you.
Okay, so as we start to wrap up here, one last thing before we kind of head out. I'm gonna do word. We're gonna do word association with both finalists. Just 1 to 2 words. Just leave it there. No explanation. You can explain it tomorrow or whenever the finale is. You can explain it then. Just word association. Both finalists. We'll start with the people that are off camera first. So we'll do Temmie, then Minor, uh, Wes, Seb, Lee.
Oh, I gotta think about this. Jesus
I
Christ.
know I'm like pulling words out my brain.
Better than where I'm pulling them from. For V, let's see. Consistent. For Grace, I'm gonna go with chaotic. But like fun.
Oh,
Minor.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna go off of Pokemon, so it might not make sense, but I'll go with V will be. I'll give V
You get the whole setup for nothing.
Lapras,
oh,
and then Grace Golduck.
Thank you for picking Pokemon I actually know. I get the references.
okay.
Wes.
I'm going to go with for me, I'm going to go with this is gonna sound weird, but I would say Grace is a devil you know, and V is a devil you don't, and this is just from my perspective.
Yeah,
I
I
I
like
know
like
it.
this. I know
that.
there are more than 1 word each, but the
No,
idea.
but you got the point across. Seb.
I'm gonna use the same word for both of them. I think after talking over everything, the one word I would use for both of them is evolutionary. And I
And
feel
then
like,
no,
oh,
no
sorry.
explanation. No explanation. And then finally Lee.
For V, respectfully, I'm gonna say this. Sneaky for V. And Grace, unexpected.
Okay. Well, Benji, thank you so much for letting me do this. Y'all, I think this was a great round table from top to bottom. I think that we kind of got everything out there. It's kind of seems like both people have a lot that they need to answer for and to tomorrow or whenever the finale is. But it also seems like most people are kind of open-ish to voting for either person. It doesn't seem like anyone or a large group of people are going one way. And I purposely didn't ask that question because I want to find out like everybody else. So thank you all.